Hi everyone. For those that don't know me, I'm Hennah. I'm a journalist with TV1 and also a domestic violence survivor. Now, my journey has made me realize that I have a platform that I am obligated to use to help people. It's not just about my job anymore. It's not just about. I've reported stories on this. The worst story was when I was a reporter with PNGFM radio. An 8-month-old baby had been sexually abused. That's a story that stays with you forever. That was 20 years ago. This is a conversation we're still having now. It's crazy. Part of the reason I had to go public also was because it was for my own safety. I did what every other victim does initially. You hide it, you don't want to talk about it, you don't want to put your family in danger, all those things. And it took a male friend of mine to tell me, you need to go public because by putting the spotlight on it, you'll save yourself. Use your strength, and your strength is media. So I thought, you know what, screw it. I grew up in a home where there was violence in my own family. And I was actually the child that went against my father, and I called my mom's family and said, we want you to take her back after 22 years. We'd rather the family takes her and keeps her alive than she comes back to you in a coffin. And one thing that happened for me personally was before my father passed, he said thank you. He apologized. He wasn't perfect in his own marriage. And he apologized and he said thank you, because my family's initial reaction had been, you're on a one-way ticket home to West Papua. We want you back because we want you alive, because my whole family lives there. I went and had debates and discussions, and I told him, Dad, if I keep running, if I run now, I keep running. I'm not going to let that happen. I was born and bred in Mosby. Why should one individual make me feel like I don't belong? That's not right. So I made the decision to come back. I had reported my case. I was unconscious when my family reported the case to the police station at Waigani. That was Independence Weekend 2018. It's now 2020. And when that weekend went by, and it was a public holiday on the Monday, and by Tuesday there was no call back, there was nothing I heard back, I went to a different police station. And I thought, I posted it online, and then I went to the police station. I ended up I thought, okay, you've got to use your weight now. I got a meeting with the Metsup. I went in and told my story, and I told him, you want women to come and ask for help, then you help us. If my case was reported 3 days ago, what am I doing here now? So he had to pick up the phone. He got my case transferred. He got me assigned, and he asked me, you're a high-profile person. How do you feel if it goes public? I opened Facebook and showed him and said, I've made it public because I have to. And so what I found is I dealt with everything, the harassment, the intimidation. I moved 3 times in Port Moresby for my own safety, for my family's safety. I traveled twice back to Jayapura to get out of the country. I flew my kids out of the country. This isn't right that we're living in a society where violence is so normalized. We are still bystanders up until today. I'm the type of neighbor where if you're going to harm somebody, I will call the cops. I've decided that my case isn't my story anymore. It's every single victim we've lost to violence, man or woman or child. It's every victim that's still out there suffering in silence because she doesn't have the strength to yet go public. She's still living. Every single woman has their own adrenaline story. Trust me, the torture, it's crazy. Since going public, I didn't realize to get the traction it would. I've had phone calls and messages come from media colleagues all over the Pacific. The post being shared in Vanuatu's domestic violence page. I get phone calls from Fiji. I've had someone come and tell me from Tonga, Australia, New Zealand. And I've decided that this case, I want it to be an example because we have victims who aren't here anymore to tell their story. This case is going to tell their story right up to conviction and jail time because it's the right thing to do. I've been that woman that had to be taken to a safe house. FSVU acted immediately. And I'm standing outside the gate and I get a text message from someone, oh, is that you? we can see you outside the gate. Um, I guess that comes with the territory with being in media. You don't have that luxury of having a private life. And I thought, if someone can spot me, what other woman is safe? Because Papua New Guinea is small and everybody knows where the safe houses are in the cities. I felt safer going back to my family because I needed, and when I went public, I also made the decision to tell my family about it. My family on my mom's side and my family on my dad's side together is combined is bigger than the whole tribe of this one perpetrator. And they told me, if we have to, police minister at the time had reached out, and I said, listen, I'm helping you as well, because if you don't do your job, I guarantee you, now that my families know, this is going to be a tribal war in the middle of the city. So you decide what happens, because we can't just keep quiet anymore. I'm not going to put up with it. One thing I've learned in the process is persistency in dealing with every single person and actor that has a role to play in your case. I had to maintain communication constantly with my police investigator, with my police prosecutor, with the METSUP, with the minister, with public prosecutor's office, individually going and continuously following up myself to make sure nobody gave me the runaround, to make sure we were all on the same page. I've had to take ink and go and help the police print out certain reports. And the response from individual women all over the country, I've been asked for help by police women, wives of policemen, wives of very prominent business people, partners of very prominent politicians. I'm just one person. What do I do when a policewoman says to me, he's breached his IPO twice, he's attacked me on the way to the courthouse, how can you help me? I need your help. The only difference between her and I is that I made it public, and I have to use the media and use my strength to make sure that I give the best advice I can. I have no legal background, I have no experience with the NGOs and the safe houses or anything, so it's just reaching out again but I've covered all of those things in my line of work. I've interviewed sorcery accused victims up in the Simbu province. I've interviewed the children, I've interviewed anyone and everyone that's ever been a victim of domestic violence or any kind of violence in the country. That it was so ironic that I would end up being in a safe house and being one of those victims, and I thought, what the heck is going on when I have people in these very sectors doing their jobs and still being victims? Something is so wrong here. Our systems are so broken, and we need to find another way. There's 100 ways to skin a cat. We just need to keep going and looking for what's going to work eventually.